Hey guys, welcome back. Mapivos Gaming here, and today we're playing Final Fantasy on part 2 of the best in class weapons and where to find them. If you didn't catch part 1, I'll put a link in the description. In that one we covered swords, great swords, and polearms, and today we're going to cover the rest, which is daggers, shields, firearms, and machinery. These weapons are generally found after beating the game, so I recommend getting to chapter 15 before attempting to go for these. So let's jump right in with daggers. Daggers are only for Noctis and Ignis, and they do lower damage than polearms, but they attack very fast. You get quite a few hits off in each combo. All daggers carry a 3% critical rate, which is a chance that an attack will do critical damage. Daggers are good because they can inflict status ailments on enemies, and they provide some good bonuses to your character when they're equipped in your loadout. They also give you bonuses to MP and magic. The Zwill Crossblades are the absolute best when it comes to daggers, and really in the whole game. Coming in at 345 attack, they also give you plus 5 bonus to your max MP and plus 25 to magic. Special trait on these are pretty sweet. These Zwill, get it, Zwill? Give you plus 80% damage at full HP. These things are beastly. If you warp strike in and get some hits off on an enemy before getting hit, you can do some pretty great damage. And overall, they're just really good. You can get the Zwill Crossblades by getting to the end of the game at chapter 15 and completing the Wondrous Weapon quest from Randolph. Randolph's quests open up after beating the game, and this one is his last quest in the quest line. There's a total of 5. Now, you have to beat this guy Naglfar, and he's pretty tough. While he's weak to fire, ice, lightning, and light, I didn't really use any of those weaknesses. The best way to beat him, especially because he's level 120, I believe, is to warp to the Magitech ship on the Naglfar side, warp strike him, then warp to the Naglfar side and warp strike him again, rinse and repeat. It's not very quick, but it does ensure that you rarely get hit, and he hits pretty hard. After you beat him, give the item to Randolph, and he'll reward you with these crossblades. These are pretty much the best weapons in the game. I rarely swap away from these. I keep them in my inventory pretty much the entire time. Unless I have to take them out for something very situational, they stay in my inventory. They're always a go-to. The runner-up to the Zwill Crossblades are the Vigilantes. These carry 290 attack power and give plus 8 to your max MP, along with plus 20 to magic. The special trait on these is also good, 5% chance to inflict stop. This is great for mobile targets or large targets that need to be immobile, so you can deal a lot of damage to them. It doesn't proc very often, but when it does, it might help you get out of a couple jams. You can find these as a collectible in the Glacial Grotto Menace Dungeon after beating the game. It's located about a third of the way through the Menace Dungeon. If you don't know, the Menace Dungeons open up after you get to chapter 15, which is the end of the game. They're the vault-looking doors found deep within each of the regular dungeons. To gain access to the Menace Dungeons, you need to complete the main storyline, then clear the following dungeons: Beluve Mines, Crestholm Channels, Durrell Caverns, and Castlemark Tower. Once these 2 requirements are met, then you can speak to Esma at Maldaccio Hunter HQ checkpoint. I call her Grandma Ezzy. Not really. And don't worry, she still has Esma. Anyway, she'll give you several quests as well as a key to open the vault doors in 8 dungeons. Now that you have that key, head over to the Glacial Grotto. The Vigilantes will be next to the first campsite of the Menace Dungeon. Now, I like these if you don't have the Zwill Crossblades. The Vigilantes proccing stop doesn't happen often, but the damage decrease from the Zwill isn't too noticeable. So they're a really good alternative. Next up we have firearms. Firearms are only for Noctis and Prompto. They shoot quickly with a solid attack power. There is a drop off in damage based on distance from the enemy, so keep that in mind. The closer you are, the higher damage you'll do. However, you're basically immobile when you shoot, so you can kind of hop around and roll dodge type of shooting, but they're good for enemies that dodge melee weapons or in tougher boss fights where you don't want to get hit. Best firearm is the death penalty, which comes in at 424 attack power. Gives you 25 to spirit, and its special trait is 1% chance to inflict instant death. Now, this is obviously a very rare occurrence. Very rare. It took me quite a bit to get it to proc. Don't rely on it too much, but it is helpful when it does proc. It'll make a little sound. And then all of the health will drain out of the enemy. I don't believe it works on bosses, so don't try and you know, one-shot a boss. The death penalty can be found in the end of the Beluve Mines Menace dungeon. If you followed along from part 1 of my video, you will already have traversed through this dungeon to get the Apocalypse, so just finish the rest of this Menace dungeon and you'll get the death penalty. I like this mainly for the distance. It's fairly situational, and I don't use firearms very often, but I guess a 1% chance is better than nothing. The runner-up to the death penalty is the Hyper Magnum with 388 attack power. Pretty close to the death penalty. Brings 21 to Spirit, but doesn't have a special trait, which kind of sucks. You can find the Hyper Magnum as a collectible north of Fort Valerie after beating the game and getting to Chapter 15. Or it can be found in the Kikatrich Trench Menace dungeon after beating the game and getting to Chapter 15. Kind of a bummer that this doesn't have a special trait, but if you just want to pick up a quick weapon without going through a Menace dungeon, this is a good alternative. Next up is shields. Shields are available only to Noctis and Gladio. Now they're pretty multi-use. You can use shields for their bonuses while being equipped in your loadout, or they give bonuses after blocking or taking damage. The best shield is the Zedric, named after my 2nd grade elementary school teacher. That bitch has 327 attack power and gives 50 to vitality along with 14% bullet resistance. Its special trait is plus 300 strength for 3 seconds after blinking. Blinking, if you're not used to that, is blocking at the point of the attack within 0.16 seconds of the attack hitting you. This is a button press. It's not a holding down block. So if you time it right, you can get it. After a while, you will kind of just have it come second nature to you, and you'll be basically blocking and phasing right out of these attacks. You can get the Zedric from Randolph's 3rd quest, Legend Wrapped in Enigma, after beating the game and getting to Chapter 15. Randolph is in Lestalem, up on the northeast side, so he'll have 5 quests for you, and this one is the 3rd. Now, I like this shield mainly for its special trait, simply block at the right time and get 300 strength for an attack. Runner up to the Zedric is the Aegis shield, which has 292 attack power, gives plus 55 to vitality along with 11% bullet resistance. Its special trait is 10% chance to nullify any incoming damage. Now, the Aegis shield can be found by going through the Staelif Grove Menace dungeon after beating the game and getting to Chapter 15. The weapon pops up about halfway through the Staelif Menace. If you don't want to actively try and trigger a special trait, you can more passively play with the Aegis shield, hoping that it nullifies the procs. It actually procs pretty often, so you will have a lot of attacks that just don't register, which is really cool. This one is more for a passive playstyle, but it still rewards you for being passive. Last up, we have Machinery, which is available only to Noctis and Prompto. These things are very slow, but they are powerful, and they're cannons, which are really cool looking. They're good for mechs because those are weak to machinery. You can hold attack to charge it up and release a higher damage attack and give kind of an AoE blast to those caught in the wake. They have a damage drop-off similar to Firearms, so make sure you're close up to the enemy. They also, instead of a warp attack, they've got a special attack, which is triangle or Y on controller setup 1. It's actually circle for me. I think I'm set up 2 or 3. And these can be upgraded through Sid. So he requires different items for different machinery upgrades, which I will cover. The best machinery weapon is the Drill Breaker Plus, which comes in at 432 attack power, gives you plus 12 to your HP, along with plus 13 to both vitality and 13% bullet resistance. You can find this as a collectible from Fourmouth Garrison and then upgrade it with Sid with the Magitech Core. Then complete 2 quests, side quests, or hunts and rest at a camp or lodge. Then Sid will call you to come and pick it up. So what's the easiest way to get a Magitech Core? It has a 3% drop rate on the MA Patria enemy, which appears during a Four-Mouth Garrison side quest, just heading right in. But with that low of a drop rate, it's probably a drill breaker for you. Deal breaker, damn it. So the easier way to get a Magitech core is as a collectible, which can be found in Chapter 13, or with a 100% drop rate from the MAX Ducks enemy in Four-Mouth Garrison. The runner-up to the Drill Breaker is the Noise Blaster Plus. This thing has 397 attack power and gives plus 23 to Spirit. You'll find the Noise Blaster in Fort Valerie, and then you can upgrade it with Sid with a Magnetron. Then complete the 2 side quests or hunts and rest at a camper lodge. He'll also call you to pick it up. I did these 2 at the same time, so it made it easy for me. I just did a couple hunts right here in Hammerhead and turned it in after about 3. How do you get a Magnetron? Again, this can also be found in Chapter 13 as you're going through. If you're going through Chapter 13, hopefully you've got all the collectibles. It makes it pretty easy to pick it up. It's pretty obvious. If not, there is a 5% drop on the MA Hopalakamakis, Hip Hop Anonymous enemy in the Fort Mouth Garrison side quest. So hopefully you already got those picked up so you don't have to go and farm that guy. So there you go, guys. We've gone over the best in class weapon types for daggers, firearms, shields, and machinery. I hope that helps some of you out. If you enjoyed this video or if it was helpful to you, give me a like because it really helps me out. And please consider subscribing so you can get notified of all my next videos. I'm talking about Neo coming February. Oh man. I'm also on Twitter at Mopivos Gaming, so check me out there to find out what I'm playing right now. Or if you have any feedback, please leave it in the comments. Thanks everyone. Peace out.